morning. Welcome to Tribune News on Q, your go-to morning news source, all here at the Daily Tribune. We're live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Daily Tribune PH on YouTube, and the Daily Tribune Official on TikTok. For today's headlines. The Senate Impeachment Court approves subpoenas for the bank and tax records of Sara Duterte and her husband, Manasseh Carpio, despite defense objections citing due process and confidentiality laws. The Office of the Ombudsman said Martin Romualdez allegedly tried to leave the country, despite a precautionary hold departure order, as plunder and anti-money laundering complaints against him and former Congressman Saldico entered preliminary investigation. Robin Padilla questioned the alleged unequal treatment of the impeachment complaints against Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte during Senate impeachment proceedings. Transport groups renewed calls for a 2 peso fare hike ahead of another fuel price increase, saying drivers have yet to recover from earlier oil price hikes this year. Marco Rubio said he is open to meeting his Chinese and Russian counterparts during this week's Southeast Asian Foreign Ministers meeting in the Philippines. Filipino households paid the highest electricity prices in Southeast Asia in June, with consumers served by Southern Leyte Electric Cooperative facing the country's highest rates amid supply shortages and power plant outages. Madonna, Justin Bieber, BTS, and Shakira headlined the FIFA World Cup 2026 finals' first ever halftime show during Spain's victory over Argentina. Kylian Mbappe became the first player to win the World Cup Golden Boot twice after Lionel Messi failed to add to his tally in Sunday's final. Today is the 21st of July, 2026, Tuesday, and I'm Eliana Lacap bringing you today's top stories. Let's kick things off with today's weather. The southwest monsoon or habagat will continue to bring cloudy skies and scattered rains over western Visayas, the Negros Island region, Zamboanga Peninsula, and Barm today. Pag-asa warns of possible flash floods and landslides in areas affected by moderate to heavy rains. Metro Manila, Western Luzon, and the rest of Mindanao may also see isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, a low-pressure area outside the Philippine area of responsibility is being monitored and has a medium chance of developing into a tropical depression within the next 24 hours. Now for a traffic update. Light traffic is reported at Balintawak Toll Plaza, Mindanao Toll Plaza, Bocaue Toll Plaza, and San Fernando northbound and southbound lanes. All other areas of NLEX, SATX, and NLEX connector, including toll plazas and interchanges, are also experiencing light traffic. Now let's move on to this morning's headlines. The Senate Impeachment Court has granted the prosecution's request to subpoena the bank and tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband Manasseh Carpio. The court ruled the documents are relevant to allegations of unexplained wealth under the impeachment complaint. Records including bank accounts, tax documents, and financial records dating back to 2007 must be submitted by July 30th. The defense opposed the move, citing due process, privacy, and bank secrecy laws, while prosecutors said the records are needed to verify Duterte's declared assets and lawful income. Now, the Office of the Ombudsman said plunder and anti-money laundering complaints against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and other Congressman Saldico have entered the preliminary investigation stage. The Ombudsman also disclosed intelligence reports alleging Romualdez tried to leave the country despite a precautionary hold departure order. His camp denied the claim, saying he remains in the Philippines and is ready to face the complaints. The case involves the alleged diversion of billions of pesos in flood control funds, backed by witness affidavits, financial records, and alleged money laundering transactions. Now, Senator Robin Padilla questioned what he called unequal treatment in the impeachment case against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Vice President Sara Duterte during the Senate impeachment trial. Padilla said impeachment should uphold both public trust and equal protection under the law. He noted that complaints against President Marcos were dismissed by the House while Duterte's case proceeded to trial, and asked whether the same standards were applied. He also renewed his call for a freedom of information law and a mandatory financial disclosures for public officials. Now, transport groups are urging the government to approve a 2 peso fare increase as another round of oil price hikes takes effect, saying drivers have yet to recover from rising fuel costs since March. Manibela chairperson Marvel Buena said their earlier request for a 1 peso increase is no longer enough, as it was filed before the Middle East conflict drove fuel prices even higher. The proposed fare hike was previously suspended by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to help ease the financial burden on commuters. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he is open to meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov during the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting in Manila this week. Rubio said he would not discuss possible meeting agendas publicly, calling them sensitive. His first visit to the Philippines as Secretary of State comes as Washington seeks to strengthen ties in Southeast Asia amid China's growing influence. Rubio is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with Quad partners India, Japan, and Australia. The Philippines has posted the highest residential electricity rates in Southeast Asia in June, with the average power cost reaching 12.43 pesos per kilowatt an hour, driven by supply shortages and power plant outages. The Southern Leyte Electric Cooperative recorded the country's highest residential rate at 16.57 pesos per kilowatt an hour, followed by the Northern Summer Electric Cooperative at 15.72 pesos. The Department of Energy said the Philippines topped the region only for June and continues to monitor electricity prices monthly. Now, the 2026 FIFA World Cup final featured the tournament's first ever halftime show, headlined by Madonna, Justin Bieber, BTS, and Shakira during Spain's championship match against Argentina. Held at New York, New Jersey Stadium, the 11-minute performance also featured Burna Boy, Coldplay, the BS22, Chorus Uganda's Ghetto's Kids, and football legends Ronaldo Ronaldinho, and historic Super Bowl-style show also raised funds for the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, marking a first for a men's World Cup final. Now, Kylian Mbappe made history by becoming the first player to win the FIFA World Cup Golden Boot twice, finishing as the tournament's top scorer with 10 goals, ahead of Lionel Messi's 8. Mbappe also became the all-time leading World Cup scorer with 22 career goals across 3 tournaments. Spain dominated the individual awards, with Rodri winning the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, Unai Simon taking home the Golden Glove, and 19-year-old Pau Cubarsí earning the FIFA Young Player Award. Now, a quick look at today's horoscope. Today calls for balance and self-care, Sagittarius. Extra workload may bring mental pressure, so avoid overstressing yourself and pace your day wisely. Health remains under control as long as you make time to rest and recharge. Your personal life may feel a bit unstable, requiring patience and understanding. On the bright side, financial growth is on the horizon, making today a good time to stay focused on your long-term goals. Now, Tribune, did you know that on this day in 1974, the Philippines became the first Asian nation to host the Miss Universe pageant, with the 23rd edition held at the newly built Folk Arts Theater in Manila. Staged during the Marcos administration as a showcase of the country's culture and tourism, the event was broadcasted worldwide and highlighted Filipino architecture, artistry, and hospitality. Spain's Amparo Muñoz won the Miss Universe crown, while the Philippines' Guadalupe Guada Sanchez finished as a top 12 semi-finalist. The pageant also marked the international debut of the folk arts theater, completed in a remarkable 77 days, and remains one of the most significant events in Philippine pageant history. Now, this morning's viral comes from an Instagram reel that has racked up 2.2 million views. No mobile data, no GPS, no problem. At least according to this group of friends who came up with a hilariously creative way to navigate. Curious how they pulled it off? Let's watch this.
Sige pre, diretso lang. Ayan, marami raw ano dyan, marami raw sasakyan dyan. Ayan, ayan, kakanan tayo dyan, kakanan. Ayan, sakto. Hindi, tao-tao mo dyan. Ayan o, sira yung Google na. Ayan o, ayan, sakto, ayan, diretso lang. Ayan, okay, malapit na tayo. Yeah, patayin ko na.
And that's all for now, mga ka-Tribu. Join us again at 1 o'clock p.m. for more updates. This has been Eliana Lacap for Tribune News on Q.